Anyway, since we have a quorum, we will officially open the meeting, and I'll make the formal announcement. Not that we don't already all know all this, but pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, as amended by Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Open Space and Recreation Committee is being conducted with remote participation by committee members and any members of the public who might join us. And as a remote meeting, we are required to call the roll. So Anne Marie.
Aye. Present, sorry.
Shannon.
Present.
Stephen.
Present.
And I suppose I'll have to admit that I'm present as well. And any votes that we might take will be taken by roll call to satisfy the requirements of the aforementioned laws that allow us to do this. So the first item on our agenda is the committee reorganization. Now that Anne Marie's role has changed from at-large member to a select board representative. As I said, we still have one at-large member opening waiting to be filled. The select board has advertised that, and I think I just saw today that they gave a deadline of July 26th to receive applications. We'll see if we can promote that in any way. If you have any, any people that you might think would be a good addition to this committee, we'd love to recruit someone. In any case, we do have to reorganize by designating a chair, vice chair, and clerk. Obviously, I am currently the chair, and Marie is currently the vice chair. Doreen was clerk, but Doreen has chosen other pursuits for the summer.
She is.
So we basically need to re-elect or elect people to fill all these positions. So the first one up will be chair.
I nominate Dave Robbins to continue to be chair.
Yeah, I second that nomination.
All right. Nominated and seconded. Are there any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, I guess we'll put this one to a vote. Anne Marie.
Aye.
Shannon.
Yes.
Stephen.
Aye.
I'll vote for myself. Aye. Okay, so I will continue on as chair. Any nominations for vice chair?
Who was vice chair? Dave?
Anne Marie.
I was. And just this, I don't know if this is out of order, but I'm happy to do the clerk, to take on that role. But I don't have to. It's up to I started to take the minutes just now, but
Yeah, well,
just for tonight since we'll have somebody. So vice chair, doesn't matter.
If Shannon doesn't volunteer,
I was actually going to volunteer for clerk because I know you have a lot on your plate, Anne Marie. I mean, you're part of the select board and you probably have a million things going on. So I used to be the clerk for a historical commission, so I'm happy to do that. But I don't want to take it away from you if you want to do it.
No, that's great.
well, I take it there's a nomination for Anne Marie as vice chair.
Okay.
I second that motion.
All righty. Second, any other nominations for vice chair? Let's do this all real formal like. Hearing none. Vote for Anne Marie. Anne Marie?
Aye.
Shannon?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
And Dave votes aye. And now finally nominations for clerk.
I nominate Shannon Phelan to be our new clerk.
I second that nomination.
Now nomination and second for Shannon. Any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll put that to a vote. Anne Marie?
Aye.
Shannon?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
And Dave votes aye. Oh, good. We're all set for
Reorganization's complete.
Thank you, Shannon.
yes.
Oh, no problem. I was going to do that anyway. So
Yep. Thank you, Shannon.
Bring my
for
pad
stepping up.
away.
got it.
All righty. So the next item on the agenda is the Trails Committee. According to my notes, Stephen was going to put together a proposed charge for a Trails Committee.
They're still going to.
Still going to. Okay.
And we have the minutes clearly describe what that entails from last month.
Okay. So at this point, we'll just we'll kick that can down the road, and Stephen will prepare a draft charge for the Trails Committee and bring it to our next meeting. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes, I will. That's plan.
Excellent. So the next agenda item is the open space and recreation plan land use action items. We've sort of been informally talking about that. I think we've kind of, I don't really have anything, I was going to look through my notes and some of the stuff and sort of draft up a rough sort of proposal. We did, I think, agree that this committee would be the appropriate committee to undertake the action items, including prioritization of potential land for open space and recreation and some related items. I'd like to formalize that a little bit, but if we are generally comfortable with sort of continuing down that path, as I said, I've got a whole bunch of notes on it, which I had sort of intended to put something together for this meeting, but I didn't quite get there. But I think the gist of it is, just to sort of repeat what I'm remembering, is that this committee, as far as prioritizing potential future land acquisitions, this committee would be responsible for prioritizing open space and recreation. I mean, recreation sort of from the perspective of where we think it might be useful to acquire additional land for recreation purposes, open space for various open space and conservation related issues. Exactly what form that takes, I think we have to kind of work that out. But in short, I'd be more than happy to continue working on that and actually bring something more concrete to the committee for our next meeting.
Question, Dave. So in trying to look, I haven't done this, but I keep meaning to. Like, is it the GIS map? Is that where like you would start in terms of looking at spaces?
There's probably a couple of ways to approach it. Maybe it's sort of multifaceted. One of the things that sticks in my mind is, from the perspective of recreation, thinking about areas in town that could use more, either places in town that could use more recreation facilities, maybe closer to neighborhoods, or types of recreation facilities, that would benefit from certain kinds of land acquisition. I know we've got the Engvall property on North Street, which is being developed as kind of a passive recreation area. It's something, maybe it's a little bit different kind of recreation area than some others that we have. We'd be looking at potentially where could we use some playgrounds. Sort of part of that, and I guess, well, let me sort of that from a recreation point, and then from more of an open space point of view, there's a trails component to that, which I would expect the Trails Committee to be looking at, places, gaps in the trail system that we might want to fill in. There are conservation, there's the conservation angle, places like the ACEC or around Silver Lake, which we are.
The Robbins property.
We're a step closer to completing that.
I guess I'm just wondering more. I mean, I know I'm aware of all those things. Just like, what's the map that I should snag? And I can ask Rob or something too. Like, I'm just, like, to be looking ahead. Like, let's look at the whole. It must be that GIS thing, I think. I don't know. Yeah,
GIS is probably a good source. I mean, there are quite a number of GIS resources that could potentially be come into play here. The state from Mass GIS, they have a ton of stuff. There's probably a lot of layers on the Grafton GIS. Things that it would show, like forest cover. There's GIS information showing where the wetlands, areas of critical environmental concerns. So there's probably quite a few GIS resources, and Rob probably has can contribute that. Rob and the Land Trust, they'll have some ideas. That it's sort of, I mean, there's probably a number of ways that we can think about that, but yeah, sort of looking overall, the idea would be to try to prioritize areas where where there's the greatest need, and not so much need, but I mean, to a point, we just like to acquire open space because open space in general is generally kind of a good thing, but we do have to be able to prioritize some of that.
Right.
It won't be this committee's responsibility to try to balance those priorities with other potential uses. I think we want to be looking at it from an open space and recreation point of view. Another part of that is going to be, and this is something I have a lot of data on that. I need to kind of assemble that in a form that's usable. We have a number of areas of various subdivisions which have been set aside or identified as open space, but often not protected as such. There's some old, parcels that were identified as open space. For example, in the Art Lot Acres subdivision, there's 2 parcels that were identified as green space, but never either given to the town or otherwise dedicated and protected as open space. So it's probably worth our while to look at some of those, and some of those sort of empty parcels, just generally empty parcels of town-owned land. Some of them may be useful, for example, for some small recreation areas. So that gets back to the recreation component. So part of it is the general knowledge of where things are in town, where people are, where the needs are. But part of it too, I think, is looking at parcels that the town already owns that we maybe want to dedicate to a particular purpose, as well as chapter land and potentially other lands that the town might find value in acquiring. So we could probably nail some of this down better in some more concrete concepts and specific ideas, but that's kind of the direction that my thinking has been going.
So is that something that we can start working on, like on our own, to be thinking about and maybe making a list, or we're going to be waiting for something?
There's no reason why each of us as individuals there's no reason why we shouldn't start thinking about that. Sort of digging into what resources you think. You may be able to find some resources that I'm not aware of, for example, that would help to identify land acquisitions or land uses that might be valuable to the town for open space and recreation purposes. So yeah, I think I think we've got a good general idea of the direction that we want to go. We can nail it down more precisely and identify some details, but I would not discourage any one of us from thinking about that as we move forward.
Dave, do we have it as a committee? Do you have access to what the Recreation Commission is looking at from a land acquisition, or not really acquisition, but setting up recreation areas like parks and walking paths and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm not sure, other than what's on the town website.
Okay, all right. I'll talk to just to take a position. I'll talk to Jen about what is in her plan as far as necessary land that they want to acquire, if not use for some purpose, such as putting a playground in a location.
Yeah,
that'd be helpful.
That would probably be helpful for all of the reps, like, so planning, and then the conservation person that we have on here, right? Yeah, like at least come to these meetings with, give us some of that info too.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's part of what I was thinking, along the lines along which I was thinking that that the recreation department may already have some ideas of what would be useful, and so that I think that's sort of part of this committee's role is to bring those together as part of prioritizing potential land uses and land acquisitions.
Okay, great, thank you.
So yeah, I think from a recreation perspective, I was kind of expecting us to rely on that, on what the recreation department is thinking.
Yep.
I don't want to reinvent that wheel.
No, yeah.
Do we have a land trust representative?
That's me.
That would be
Okay.
Shannon.
Okay, great. So
I was gonna say that,
yeah.
Rob and his team have a pretty comprehensive, I think it's an Excel format, database of parcels and why they want to acquire them and the priorities. So I was going to offer to see, well, I was going to ask if our committee, are we allowed to use like a Google Drive or something like that for working documents?
That's something the thought had crossed my mind not long ago, is the sharing information among committee members. The thing to be careful about is engaging in any deliberation outside of the meeting.
Right.
So I mean, sort of if you didn't have to worry about the open meeting law, we could sort of, we could put some shared documents together and just, just work on them. You make some changes, I look at it, I make some changes, and we are constrained, however, in that we can share information between meetings, but it basically has to be one way. We can't sort of pass information around from one person to the next and circulate it and comment on it between meetings. We can do work between meetings, but basically we can't really collaborate on anything except during the meeting. So
But
I
you could share that like a document, like
Yeah.
Shannon was saying, yeah.
Yeah, so sharing information is one thing that we can do, and specifically the idea of Google Drive is something that crossed my mind the other day. I don't remember if it was in the context of this committee or some other committee, but I did think I should follow up on that and see whether there's something that's sort of within the scope, whether the town has something that like an account on a Google Drive or something that we can use to share information in a manner that doesn't violate the open meeting law.
So
Right.
I could
Right,
create,
we can always email it to one another, but
so I could create like an Excel database or modify an existing one, like from the Recreation Commission, but I would just have to email it and then we would talk about it at the next meeting.
yes, and the idea of something like a Google Drive would be for the purpose of instead of emailing documents around, we could just put them there and then access them.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would be great. I'm just saying, until we got the Google Drive set up or the permission to do that, we could just
Right.
email it and then talk.
Right. We can email information to all the committee members. We just can't, basically
I'm so sorry.
we can't
I have a
respond.
fox attacking my chicken, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, we just have to, we have to be careful to avoid deliberation, which means you can't sort of send a document around and then people respond to it. That becomes deliberation. But sending information around and then discussing it and responding to it at the next meeting should be okay.
Mhm.
Not that anybody is likely to file an open meeting law complaint against us,
Right.
if we do something that's sort of innocuous. But nevertheless, we would, if nothing else, as chair of the committee, I would have to advise us to avoid anything that appears to be an open meeting law violation. And our work is not as controversial as maybe some other committees, but we don't want to step in it. So we'll give Anne Marie a moment to take care of the chickens, and then we can probably wrap this meeting up pretty quickly. other than suffering the heat, which was a little bit more uncomfortable this week. Everybody's summer going well.
Suffering the heat. Our air conditioning failed on Thursday, and they're here to they're going to replace it tomorrow morning, and it has just been miserable.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, I haven't turned mine on the whole summer, maybe only 2 times, but this week it's been on for the past couple of days.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it-
I'm
yeah.
sure.
It hasn't really been up until the last few days. It's really been pretty tolerable.
Mhm.
Of course, it's also not 110 degrees.
Yeah, that's right. Europe is I
No,
have
they're-
colleagues in Europe that
they're
are just
cooking.
getting hammered with
Yeah.
the weather. The heat is oppressive.
Mhm.
I don't pay much attention to it, but many years ago we lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and that's 115 degrees is pretty normal for summer.
Yeah, my wife spent 2 weeks in Austin in the
Yeah.
last month, and it was just miserable. You don't want to be outside at all.
Nope. You know, they say it's a dry heat in Arizona, but I don't care how dry it is. 110
Yeah.
degrees is hot.
Yeah, in Austin it's hot and humid.
Yes. Yes, we used to get what we called the monsoon season in Phoenix. Typically August, sometimes into September, when the humidity would be up to 30% or so, and the temperatures were well over 100.
30%. I would
110
welcome that.
degrees, 110 degrees and 30% humidity is tough. It's not much different from 90 degrees and 90% humidity.
Yeah, that's you still need to you need to drink a lot.
Yeah.
It catches up with you.
Yep. So. I don't know, maybe the only thing left on it, well, okay, I don't have a quorum here, so technically we can't take a vote. I was gonna say we could just, look at the minutes of our last meeting. Probably best to wait for Anne Marie to get done.
So we have one open vacancy then?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, I know the select board put out an advertisement for a number of committee vacancies, including ours back in June or so, early to mid-June. Nobody applied for our committee, funny thing. So they're advertising again for like 8 or 10 committee vacancies. So hopefully we'll get somebody this time around.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll grant you that this committee may not be the most exciting committee in town, but if you're interested in helping to move the open space plan forward, get it implemented. Some years down the road, we'll have to updating it, but that's not for now. We've got enough work, enough ahead of us just with what we already have on our plate.
I did look at the, I wasn't able to make the last meeting, but I did look at the Wellesley, I reviewed their Trails Committee website. That was really nice.
Uh-huh.
A lot of good ideas on there for our charge.
Yep. All taken care of, Anne Marie?
We're missing 2 maybe.
Oh.
Sorry, my husband, I just heard him screaming and running, so I went.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, I think we probably have one item of business left, and that's the minutes of the previous meeting, which Doreen wrote up for us and I circulated. I think
What was the date on them, Dave?
May 12th, the file name she gave it was 5.15, meeting minutes OSRC to 5.15, but in the body of the document is the correct meeting date, May 12th. And I think I noticed just,
There was like one typo, but I was going to go ahead and make a motion to approve them.
yeah, I think I need to review it. It looked to me like
They're kind of two words that were added that seemed like they could have been deleted.
yeah, I think I wanted to clarify, toward the bottom of it, there's a sentence that says Dave states that he will put together a draft charge for the committee and present it at a future meeting. I want to reread that just to make sure it's, because I think we need to, we talked about two different things, the Trails Committee, which Stephen was going to put something in for. And yeah, I think that was in the context of the Trails Committee. So I would just change that to say Stephen will put together a draft charge for this Trails Committee. And I've got the Word document here, so I'll just make the changes and turn that in. And there was something you spotted, Anne-Marie?
Yeah. If I don't see it now, I can email you after. It was just a sentence that I felt like there was. I don't have to hold everyone up though. I can just email you all the.
Yeah, fine. That would work. So
okay.
I think I heard a motion to approve the minutes with the changes that we've discussed.
Yeah, I make that motion.
I second that motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Yeah. Just send me the change, send me the updates, and then I'll update the Word document and then send that into the town clerk for it to be put up on the website. And as we discussed earlier, Anne-Marie, I will find previous minutes that we've already approved and make sure that those get up to the town clerk.
Okay, great.
And if I'm missing, if there's anything I can't find, I'll reach out to, probably Doreen might have them, but I think we worked with Doreen to make sure that we were caught up. So we'll just double check on that. Okay. No further discussion. Anne-Marie?
Aye.
Shannon?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
And Dave votes aye. Motion carried unanimously. The minutes are approved with the corrections that will be made. And with that, I think there are no further agenda items. So a motion to adjourn might be in order.
Stephen's motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded that this meeting be adjourned. Put it to a vote. Anne-Marie?
Aye.
Shannon?
Is she a mute?
Did Shannon say aye? And I just
I'm sorry, I did say aye, yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And Stephen?
Aye.
And Dave votes aye. Meeting adjourned.
Great. Thank you.
All for spending a little bit of your hot summer evening with us.